Graduation season at the University of Virginia is like a fever, bright and loud and inescapable. Even before sunrise, the campus pulses with the energy of endings and beginnings. Azaleas bloom shamelessly along the walkways. Banners ripple above the quad, welcoming proud families, fresh bouquets, and laughter. Somewhere, barbecue smoke hangs in the thick air, hinting at weekend parties waiting on every front lawn. Students dart between clusters of parents, some already balancing armfuls of flowers and gift bags, their cheeks flushed with the promise of being celebrated. I watch it all from the edge, gripping the smooth card that reads Valedictorian, Elena Carter. The dean's handshake is firm. 3 seats in the family row, she says, smiling as if that means everything. I nod, tucking the card into my pocket, knowing the real meaning of those 3 seats, an expectation, not a certainty. My shoes click along the stadium aisle as I rehearse the walk I've practiced in my dreams since freshman year. Sweat pools beneath my collar. I imagine the stadium filled to bursting, Jesse's whoop from the stands, Tom's awkward but sincere wave, and, in a perfect world, my parents beaming, snapping photos, my sister's voice rising above the crowd. But already, I know better. Even as I text my mom for the final seat count, something inside me braces for the answer. Her reply buzzes before I reach the far end of the field. Honey, we're so proud of you, but your dad's back is acting up and I have 3 listings this weekend. We're just too tired to make the drive. We'll watch online. Go shine, sweetheart. I stare at the phone. The words are gentle, loving even, but they press down like humidity, thick and impossible to shake. I can practically hear her already turning back to the computer, multitasking through my milestone. My dad's silence fills the background, reliable, predictable, somehow more disappointing for its ordinariness. I walk slowly back to my dorm, feeling the pull between belonging and being invisible. The walls are plastered with note cards, formula sheets, essay outlines, snippets of poetry that got me through sleepless nights. On my desk sits a set of invitations I wrote by hand, thick ivory paper trimmed with gold. I practiced the calligraphy for hours, the way I used to practice piano scales, hoping to earn praise that never quite arrived. Even as I wrote their names Karen, Richard, Savannah, I had a hunch. My family doesn't do fanfare for me. Not the way they do for Savannah. There's a memory that always floats up at times like this, my 16th birthday. I'd asked for dinner at my favorite Italian spot, nothing fancy, just the 4 of us. My mom said they were swamped at work, we'd celebrate at home. That evening, a single candle flickered on a store-bought cake, a wrapped planner set beside it. I smiled for the photo, told them thank you, then helped clear the dishes. It felt practical, thoughtful in its way. I convinced myself it was enough. 3 years later, Savannah turned 19. I watched from the patio as the backyard transformed. String lights tangled in the trees, a private chef grilled steaks on the deck, a cake shaped like a Chanel purse towered over silver trays of hors d'oeuvres. Mom beamed in every photo. Dad followed Savannah with the camera, documenting her every laugh. Guests toasted her with sparkling cider beneath the Virginia stars. It was the kind of party I didn't even know you could ask for. I never told anyone how it felt to stand at the sliding door, clutching my planner, watching them orbit around my sister's joy. These days, I try not to ask for much. When I handed out the invitations for graduation, driving 3 hours home just to place them on the kitchen table, I tried to pretend it was about tradition, not hope. Dad glanced up from his phone. You drove all this way for this? Mom admired the gold pen, complimented the curly letters, then checked the time on her Apple Watch. Savannah snapped a photo, then went back to her group chat. No one asked what I'd speak about at graduation. No one asked what I wanted to do next. Back in my room, I set the last invitation down, trying not to let disappointment seep into the cracks of the day. There's a kind of tiredness that settles when you realize you've been waiting for applause that will never come. Rehearsal ends. I duck under the bleachers to escape the heat. The air is thick with cut grass and lemonade. The marching band practices on the far field, their music drifting lazily through the quad. I unlock my phone and open Instagram, just to pass the time, I tell myself. Savannah's story pops up at the top. She and Mom, spa-robed, feet soaking in rose petals, faces shining with sheet masks. Self-care with my girl, the caption reads, a champagne glass emoji tucked at the end. There's a boomerang, clinking glasses, matching slippers, soft towels. Mom's comment sits right below. Best day with my beautiful daughter. I scroll through the rest. Another video, Savannah blowing a kiss at the camera, Mom laughing in the background. I close the app before I can see more, before my own name could be forgotten entirely. For a while, I just sit there, letting the buzz of the stadium, the hum of celebration, slip by. I reach for my speech, the one I've been working on for weeks, safe, polished, filled with gratitude and optimism. It's the kind of language that belongs in university newsletters, the kind that says everything is fine even when it isn't. But now, as I read the words, they start to dissolve. I can't picture myself at the podium thanking my family for support that never arrived, pretending the 3 empty chairs in the front row mean something they don't. My hands tremble. I hit delete. The screen goes blank, a digital reflection of the emptiness I've carried for years. I stare at that empty page, heart pounding. In the hallway, Jessie's laugh echoes faintly, pulling me back. There's a small comfort in knowing she'll be there, loud and bright, no matter what. Tom's text pops up. Got your back, valedictorian. Sunflowers for luck tomorrow? A sliver of warmth settles in my chest. Still, the ache lingers. I pick up a pen and write 5 words across the top of the page. This is not a thank you. It's not bitterness, exactly. It's something truer, a declaration, maybe, that I won't keep shrinking myself to fit their expectations. I close the laptop, glance once more at the invitations stacked neatly on the shelf, and listen to the laughter outside. There's a world out there humming with celebration, even if my own applause comes from somewhere else. Tomorrow, the stadium will be full. The air will buzz with joy, with endings and beginnings. I'll stand up and say what needs to be said, whether anyone's clapping or not. Because some milestones, I'm learning, you have to witness for yourself. There's the family story I rehearse for friends, the one with the jokes about quirky parents and busy schedules, the one where we're all just too modern to celebrate things the old-fashioned way. And then there's the other story, the quiet ache that flickers through Instagram captions where my name is nowhere to be found. It's the night before graduation, and my dorm is cocooned in the sticky heat of a Virginia summer. Streetlights spill gold stripes across the window, catching on the suitcase half-packed in the corner. A faint buzz comes from the little desk fan oscillating next to my bed, fighting a losing battle with the humidity. Above my pillow, a string of fairy lights casts soft shadows, illuminating a faded Polaroid of Savannah and me from years ago, her arms slung around my shoulders, both of us grinning with our whole faces. I barely remember the moment, but I remember wanting to hold on to it, certain it meant something. Tonight, everything feels blurry and sharp at the same time. I sit cross-legged on my bed, phone glowing in my hand, thumbing through Savannah's Instagram stories. I try to pretend it's mindless scrolling, but the truth is I'm searching for something, Maybe proof that I haven't disappeared altogether. Savannah's feed is a montage of luxury, spa days, champagne, her smile dazzling beneath a cucumber mask. There's a shot of Mom beside her, feet in rose petal water, both of them in fluffy white robes. The caption reads, "Self-care with my star girl cherry blossom sparkles." Below, Mom's comment, "Best way to kick off summer." So proud of you. The world sees a mother and daughter so close their laughter radiates off the screen. But when I see those words, I feel both a sting and a strange numbness, like pressing on a bruise that never quite fades. I swipe through another story, Savannah blowing kisses, champagne glass raised, a spray of golden confetti in the air. I type a message before I can talk myself out of it. Thought you were too tired to travel? The typing bubble pops up almost immediately, then a reply. Don't be sensitive. This was planned weeks ago. You'll be fine tomorrow. Enjoy your moment. I let the phone fall onto the bed, blinking back the burn behind my eyes. For a moment, I feel foolish, as if I've been caught wishing for something childish, attention, acknowledgement, a seat at the table. I remind myself, as I always do, that Savannah's life is curated, not real. That the version of us online is just a highlight reel, not the whole film. But sometimes the highlight reel is all anyone else ever sees. A sudden memory wells up, the phone call weeks ago when the university sent the email confirming me as valedictorian. I'd sat in the corner booth at my favorite campus cafe, the kind where the coffee is strong and the Wi-Fi is spotty, fingers shaking as I dialed home. Mom picked up, her voice bright, TV noise in the background. "Mom, I have news," I'd said, barely able to keep the excitement out of my voice. "Oh, hang on, sweetie. I just need to mute this." "Okay, what's up?" "I got it. Valedictorian. I'll be giving the speech at graduation." There was a pause, a beat of silence, and then, "That's nice, honey. You've always been our little bookworm." Before I could say more, she launched into Savannah's upcoming modeling trip to Miami, her voice growing animated as she listed Savannah's new contacts, which swimsuit she might wear, the stylist who wanted to feature her. I let the conversation drift away from me, holding on to the hope that maybe, when graduation came, she'd find a way to be there. Back in my dorm, I pick up the 2 drafts of my graduation speech from the desk. The first is neat, full of gratitude, the version I'd always assumed I'd read. It thanks everyone, says the right things, glosses over the messy stuff. The second draft is messier, still half-formed, written late at night with honest words I'm almost afraid to speak out loud. It's not bitter, but it isn't grateful in the way people expect. My phone buzzes again. "Proud of you, sweetie. Watch for us on the live stream." Mom texts, the digital version of a pat on the head. I can picture her now, phone in one hand, her other hand scrolling through Savannah's latest post, maybe thinking about what to write in the comments. I open the safe speech and start to read, but the words slide right off me. "Thank you to my family, who always supported me." I can't finish. I know it isn't true, not in the way I want it to be. I put it aside and turn to the second draft, my pen hovering over the page. It starts, "To those who kept showing up, even when no one clapped for them, this is for you." It's raw, risky. I wonder if I'll have the courage to read it tomorrow. The night grows heavier. I pull my suitcase from under the bed, half-heartedly folding a dress, a pair of sandals, the old photo of Savannah and me. I tuck it between my textbooks, unsure why I still carry it from place to place. A notification blinks. "Jesse, checking in. You awake? Breakfast before the chaos tomorrow?" I smile, some of the weight on my chest lifting. "Yeah, I'll need coffee." "Thanks, Jess." Before bed, I string my favorite necklace, a tiny silver key, through my fingers. A gift from Jessie after a particularly rough semester, meant to remind me to keep unlocking doors for myself, even when the people I love don't notice I'm standing on the other side. The speeches sit side by side on my desk, the safe one and the true one, a fork in the road. My stomach churns as I realize I have to decide which version of myself I'll bring to the podium. I stay up long after the dorm has gone quiet, rewriting the honest speech, folding it carefully when I finish. I tuck it next to the safe draft, uncertain which I'll choose in the morning. As the sky begins to pale outside my window, I reach for my phone, half dreading, half needing a distraction. At the top of my feed, Savannah's face glows behind a spa filter, champagne glass in hand. The caption, "Starting the day with peace and gratitude." Confetti falls over her smile, and I watch it loop, again and again, as the morning sun finally breaks through. For a moment, I wonder if she'll ever know what it feels like to sit in the wings, hoping someone will notice you. Maybe she doesn't have to. Maybe this time I'll finally notice myself. They say every seat in the front row is a privilege. Sometimes they're just a reminder of who isn't there. That thought clings to me as I step out of the dorm into the golden light of graduation morning, my gown swirling around my legs and my heart doing a strange, fluttery dance beneath my ribs. The air already feels thick with sunlight and possibility, cut by the distant sound of the marching band and the gentle rumble of families parking on the grass. Jessie finds me first. She's already balancing 2 coffees and a paper bag, her sunglasses pushed up into her hair. "You survived," she grins, holding out the coffee I like, just cream, no sugar, a little extra hot, as if the warmth could calm my nerves. "Muffin emergency," she says, passing me the bag with the one that never has blueberries. "You got this." Tom arrives a minute later, sunflower stems poking from the brown wrapping paper. He pretends not to notice. He gives me his signature nod, quiet and sturdy, not asking for any words I can't quite form. We walk together toward the stadium, the grass freshly mowed and full of promise, the stands draped in navy and orange. Balloons bounce above the heads of proud families, children run in miniature caps. Someone is already waving a tiny American flag near the cupcake table. I keep my head up, clutching the folder with both versions of my speech, feeling every step lead me somewhere I can't turn away from now. Rows and rows of folding chairs wait for us, sunlight catching on the metal, so they seem to shimmer like possibility itself. My name card is easy to find, right at the front, Elena Carter, valedictorian. I spot the 3 Carter family seats before I want to, placards printed in elegant script. They sit pristine and untouched, flanked by bouquets that other parents will claim by the end of the day. A breeze stirs the edges of my robe. For a split second, I imagine what it might feel like to see my parents waving, my mother calling out, Savannah rolling her eyes and then laughing. I let the fantasy float away, as light as the confetti cannon some little cousin launches behind us. Jessie squeezes my shoulder and slips away to her row, Tom trailing after, pausing just long enough to leave the sunflowers in my chair. I take my seat and let the sounds and sights blur, a field of bright dresses and sharp suits, proud tears and nervous giggles. Somewhere in the distance, I can hear the familiar theme of pomp and circumstance. The stadium buzzes, a living thing. The dean makes her way to the podium, voice ringing out across the crowd. There are speeches, laughter, stories about the university's storied history. I try to anchor myself in the moment, but my eyes keep darting to those empty seats, as if the act of staring hard enough could fill them with something, approval, acknowledgement, love, anything at all. When my name is called, I stand and walk toward the stage. My hands tremble, but not so much that anyone would notice. I clutch the folder. 2 speeches, 2 possible futures. The dean's smile is genuine as she hands me the microphone. "Ready?" she whispers. I nod. I've never felt less sure and more certain all at once. I look up, not at the crowd, not at the rows of beaming parents, not at the president of the university sitting stone-faced behind me. I look straight at those 3 empty chairs, and then I find the live stream camera, the little red light glowing. I think of my mother's promise to watch online, my father's texted silence, Savannah's filtered stories. I take a slow breath. This is for those who kept showing up, even when no one clapped for them. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. I see Jessie's face in the crowd, her eyes already glassy with tears. Tom leans forward, smiling just enough to let me know he's listening. To the professors who stayed late, who answered the questions no one else wanted to ask, to the friends who sat in silence, who knew when to bring coffee and when to simply sit close, thank you. To those who worked so hard to be seen, who celebrated their own victories in quiet, empty rooms, I see you. I let the words pour out, honest and clean. Some of us didn't have confetti waiting at home. Some of us learned that pride sometimes has conditions, but you don't have to wait for someone else's permission to feel proud of yourself. I pause, glancing again at the empty seats. I requested 3 seats in the family section. They're still available. The crowd shifts, a subtle current of recognition. I wonder if somewhere behind a screen, my mother is shifting uncomfortably in her chair, Savannah is rolling her eyes, or my father is holding the remote a little too tight. If you're here today and no one's cheering for you, let me be the first to say you made it. You always have. I fold the speech, hands now perfectly still. The applause starts soft, then swells, a gentle wave that crests and breaks over me. I let it pass through, not quite meeting anyone's eyes, except for Jessie's. She's smiling, tears streaking her cheeks, giving me a thumbs up so exaggerated it almost makes me laugh. I step down from the stage, tucking the honest speech back in the folder. The safe version stays in my pocket, untouched, its careful words a silent witness to the risk I finally took. As the ceremony winds down, classmates pull me into photos, thrusting bouquets into my hands, their parents snapping pictures. I let myself smile, feeling something raw and fragile unfolding inside, a kind of relief, a kind of freedom. The scent of sunblock and fresh-cut grass swirls around me, sticky with the memory of every year I waited to be noticed. When I finally have a moment to myself, I pull out my phone. There's a message from my mother. Your speech was unexpected. Call us when you have a moment, okay? No congratulations. No mention of pride or love. Just surprise and the ever-present undertone of disappointment. I closed the message, not sure what I would say anyway. At the same time, Savannah's story flashes to the top of my feed. She's at a brunch table somewhere beautiful, mimosa raised, captioned, "True peace is choosing who deserves your energy." The irony almost makes me laugh. I watch the video loop, her perfect smile, the filtered light, the curated happiness that has always come so easily. I slip my phone into my pocket, sunflowers in hand, and head toward the lemonade table, the taste of bittersweet lingering on my tongue. The stadium is emptying, the day spilling into afternoon, and I'm left with a single, inescapable truth. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is speak for yourself, even if the only echo comes from the empty chairs in the front row. Not every milestone is marked with flowers. Some are met with silence and the persistent blink of a phone screen, a string of notifications that never quite say what you need to hear. The afternoon sun creeps through my dorm window, scattering golden heat across the open suitcase on my bed. The quad outside still hums with leftover celebration, music drifting from a speaker, balloons bobbing against fading banners, the distant shouts of families taking final pictures in the grass. Inside, the mood is different, muted, messy, a little too quiet. My graduation gown hangs over the back of my desk chair. A bouquet of half-wilted sunflowers rests in a plastic water bottle, and the air smells of cupcakes and lemonade, with the faintest trace of someone else's barbecue wafting through the screen. My phone lights up again. A steady stream of messages from classmates fills the group chat. That speech, Elena. Never heard anything like it. You said what a lot of us feel but don't say. A professor even stopped me on the quad, eyes bright behind her glasses, telling me I'd given voice to the unseen. I try to let their words sink in. I try to let myself feel proud. But what I really want, what I can't help searching for, is something from my family, a moment of real recognition, an admission that maybe, just maybe, they finally saw me. Instead, my mother's text is dry and flat. Well, that was powerful. Call us soon. No, I'm proud of you. No, we watched the whole thing. Just a handful of words, typed between errands, the emotional equivalent of a receipt for a purchase that never quite arrived. A minute later, Savannah's Instagram story pops up. She's somewhere bright and expensive, brunch spread in front of her, face shining beneath another spa filter. No mention of graduation. No sign she even noticed. But then, a private message. Congrats, valedictorian. Next time, chill with the drama. It's not that deep. I read the text 3 times, trying to decide if it's meant to be funny, supportive, or just another way of brushing me aside. I start to reply, but the words evaporate before I can type. Instead, I watch her story loop, the same glossy smile, the same effortless ease. I'm still staring at my phone when there's a knock at the door. Jessie slips in, her hair twisted into a messy bun, 2 sodas in one hand and a takeout bag in the other. I come bearing greasy sustenance and questionable wisdom, she announces, flopping down onto the floor and clearing a space among my scattered notebooks. We sit cross-legged, unwrapping sandwiches and splitting a cupcake, the familiar comfort of old rituals grounding me. Outside, the sun tilts low and the room fills with gold. Jessie takes a bite and leans back, looking at me with that steady gaze of hers. I'm proud of you, she says, voice quiet. And not just for the speech. For saying it anyway, even when it felt like no one would listen. I nod, the words caught somewhere between gratitude and grief. It wasn't for them, not really, I say, more to myself than to her. But sometimes I wish it could have been. Jessie grins, nudging my foot with hers. My family missed the time I got that science award in middle school. I remember staring at all the parents with their cameras, wishing mine would magically appear. That night, I bought myself an ice cream sundae and started a new tradition, celebrate your own wins. That's what you did today, Elle. We finish our sandwiches, picking crumbs from the wrappers, letting the silence fill in the gaps. Jessie pulls something from her bag, a small notebook, its cover a deep, calming blue. She presses it into my hands. For your new stories. For the ones you tell yourself. I run my fingers over the cover, a smile ghosting at the corners of my mouth. It feels good to be seen, even if it's just by a friend. As Jessie gathers her things, promising to call before she leaves town, I notice the letter poking from beneath a stack of receipts in my desk drawer. I haven't opened it in months. The envelope is creased, my father's handwriting looping across the front. I slide it open, hands trembling a little. The paper is thin, familiar, folded carefully, as if the words inside might slip away if I wasn't gentle. Elena, you always carry more than you let on. I see it. I hope you never forget that your quiet strength is still strength. You've earned everything coming to you. No matter where you go, don't let anyone make you small to feel seen. You already are. Love, Dad. It's not a speech or a celebration. It isn't public. But for the first time in a long while, I feel something shift, a well of emotion rising that I don't try to push away. Maybe he saw me once, even if he forgot how to say it out loud. Outside, the sky is streaked with peach and lavender. My suitcase is almost packed now, the notebooks and sunflowers tucked inside. I pause, hand on the zipper, and stare at the chaos of my half-empty room. All the waiting, all the wanting, it's weight I've carried for years. Jesse's words echo in my mind. Celebrate your own wins. I set the letter carefully in the side pocket of my bag, feeling lighter than I have in months. With everything nearly ready, I sit on the floor, knees pulled to my chest, and let myself ask the question that's been hovering at the edge of my thoughts all day. What if I just stopped waiting for them? I say it aloud, the room swallowing the sound, but it lingers in the air, honest and new. For the first time, I imagine what it might look like to move forward, not chasing applause, not needing permission. Just me, my story, and whatever comes next. Some bridges are rebuilt one awkward lunch at a time. That's what I remind myself as I stand under the awning outside Union Market, the early summer air humming with the sense of roasting coffee and spiced lamb. A light drizzle patters the sidewalk, the kind that barely warrants an umbrella, but makes the whole city gleam with promise. I clutch my phone, rereading Savannah's message for the 5th time. Hey, I'm in DC, want to meet up? No explanation, no mention of mom or dad, just a simple invitation. For a moment, I hesitate, nervousness fluttering inside me. But there's hope, too, a thin, cautious thread. Sure, let me know when you're here, I reply, trying to sound casual. The market is a swirl of people, young families wrangling toddlers, couples with iced lattes, food vendors hawking empanadas and homemade donuts. I arrive first, drifting past the stalls, letting the buzz of strangers settle my nerves. My phone vibrates. 5 minutes out. I'll meet you by the flower cart, Savannah texts. I spot her before she sees me, hair tucked behind her ears, umbrella closed, standing a little straighter than usual. She looks out of place here, in a city where no one knows her as the golden child. She catches my eye and gives a small wave, an uncertain smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Hey, I say, and it feels both too formal and not enough. Hey, she echoes, shifting her bag from one shoulder to the other. For a moment, we just stand, the crowd flowing around us. Savannah glances at the bouquets, lining the cart, ranunculus, sunflowers, and my favorite, yellow tulips. Should we? She gestures toward the market entrance. We settle at a little table by the window, 2 steaming cups of coffee between us, the rain tracing lines down the glass. Our conversation is tentative, like feeling out new ground after a long winter. We talk about DC, the rent prices that made us both gasp, the metro's unpredictable quirks, the joy of a really good bagel. When the conversation lulls, we both stare out at the busy sidewalk, the silence heavy but not unfriendly. Savannah surprises me by ordering a plate of dumplings for us to share. I keep trying to learn how to cook, she confesses, picking up a fork, but I usually just burn toast. Remember that time I tried to make your birthday pancakes and set off the smoke alarm? I laugh, some of the tension melting away. Yeah, you used salt instead of sugar. It was memorable. We finish eating, lingering over the last sips of coffee. Savannah fidgets with her napkin, then looks up, suddenly earnest. Did you mean what you said at graduation? She asks, her voice softer than I've ever heard it. About showing up? About pride? I don't answer right away. I think of all the years I spent watching her from the sidelines, convincing myself that invisibility was the same as being strong. Yeah, I say quietly. I meant every word. Savannah nods, eyes shining with something like understanding. For the first time, she really listens, not just to my words, but to the things I never said. As we gather our things, Savannah pulls a tiny keychain from her purse, a miniature cherry blossom, delicate and bright. For your new place, she says, pressing it into my palm. A little luck. We step out into the soft rain, the air smelling fresh and clean. For a second, Savannah moves as if to hug me, but then hesitates. Instead, she squeezes my hand, giving it a gentle, lingering press. Maybe we can start over, she murmurs, voice thick with possibility. Maybe, I reply, holding her gaze. We part ways under the awning, each of us swallowed by the swirl of city life, but something unspoken connects us now, a bridge, newly rebuilt, wobbly but real. On the walk home, I stop by the flower stand and buy myself a bouquet of yellow tulips, a tradition I decide to claim for my own. The petals glow in the fading light as I carry them up the stairs to my new apartment. Inside, the space is still half empty, boxes stacked by the door, the patchwork rug I bought secondhand rumpled in the middle of the floor. I set the flowers in a jar on the kitchen table, arrange the keychain beside them, and snap a picture with my phone. The scent of rain and tulips fills the room, a small, private celebration. Later, I post the photo to my own feed, not for likes, not for validation, but for the quiet satisfaction of marking my own milestone. Some traditions you start for yourself, I write in the caption, smiling as I hit share. Outside, thunder rumbles faintly, but inside, everything feels bright and new. Healing doesn't always look like a parade. Sometimes it's just yellow tulips catching the sunlight, a quiet morning in a place that finally feels like your own. The city wakes early outside my apartment window. Horns sound down on H Street, a delivery truck rumbles past, and pigeons strut along the rooftop ledge just outside the glass. The air smells like rain left over from last night, cool and a little sweet. I pour myself a cup of coffee and lean against the kitchen counter, taking in the apartment, the patchwork rug that never lays flat, the stack of books by my bed, the vase of yellow tulips still blooming, petals a little ragged but bright. My laptop blinks open on the table, a half-finished draft glowing on the screen. I'm halfway through an article about women-owned startups in the city, a topic I never would have pictured myself writing about last year. It's good work, honest work. Each morning, I find my own rhythm, reading, writing, a walk around the block to the corner bakery for a cinnamon roll, or, on braver days, brunch alone at the sunny cafe on 7th. The servers there are starting to recognize me. One always slips an extra packet of sugar beside my plate and smiles as if she's rooting for me, even without knowing my story. It's strange, the way small rituals can build a sense of belonging. Hanging my father's old letter in a simple frame and setting it on my desk felt like drawing a new border around my life, one that holds the past without letting it define the future. His handwriting is steady, looping a reminder, you already are seen. The city stirs. Downstairs, someone's dog barks. The neighbor across the hall leaves for work, offering a quick, friendly wave when our eyes meet. I wave back, smiling, feeling lighter than I have in years. My phone buzzes with a message from Savannah. Good luck today. Let's do lunch again sometime? No sarcasm, no deflection, just a simple kindness. The pattern is changing, quietly, like the weather turning from spring to summer. I text back. I'd like that. Let me know when you're free. The screen glows with another notification. Jessie calling, her voice already bubbling with excitement. You up yet, superstar? I just saw your byline. They put your article right on the front page. I'm so proud of you, Elena. Not because of what you wrote, but because you let them hear your voice. We talk for a while about everything and nothing, how life feels different in DC, how maybe, for the first time, dreams aren't limited by anyone's expectations but our own. Jessie teases me about my growing plant collection, then grows quiet. You know, she says, you're writing your own story now. That's all that matters. After the call, I walk to the window and watch the sunlight pool on the kitchen floor. There's a quiet joy here, no confetti, no parade, just the slow warmth of possibility. I breathe in the city air, feeling all the jagged edges inside me softening. For the first time, I feel wholly myself, not a version trimmed to fit someone else's frame. I sip my coffee and glance at the framed letter, the gentle weight of it grounding me. The past is still part of me, but it doesn't have to be the whole story. There's room now for yellow tulips and new beginnings, for friendships that feel like family, and for small, brave rituals that mark the days as my own. A ping from my laptop pulls me back. An email from my editor. Your feature will be published next week. Congrats, Elena, this is only the beginning. I let myself smile, wide and real, knowing that, finally, this story is mine. Some things we carry with us, but the heaviest burdens are the ones we finally put down. Sometimes happiness is quiet, a bouquet of yellow tulips, sunlight on a new morning, and the gentle knowledge that I'm finally enough, just as I am. Through every season of longing and every silence from those I hoped would see me, I learned that true healing begins when we start celebrating ourselves. Family may not always give us the applause we wish for, but the love we build, the forgiveness we offer, and the traditions we create for ourselves can light the way forward. If my story speaks to you, I hope you'll share your own thoughts or a memory in the comments. Because, in the end, we all deserve to feel seen no matter how quietly that happiness may arrive.